Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And action-packed as ever, there's never a dull moment in these days, so we are going to just jump right in. So let's lead off with the main energies. And we have Youthful Folly for the last time. It's April. We're closing out April. We're going to work with Hexagram 30. It's about clarity and how we perceive. It's a 9-year, all year long, so small restraint, surrender. The numbers culminate in a 16, which is about enthusiasm, excite, and there's reason for enthusiasm, and there's reason to hang on. And ultimately, then they culminate in a 7, which is Army, correct discipline. Welcome, Alicia. Welcome, Sue. So, and let's just take a look. Before we go to the astrological influences, I want to look at the astrological charts. So, back on the 19th of April, we had the chart for the Sun enters Taurus. Very auspicious, beautiful energies and everything. That free-falling, breakthrough, breakdown moment. And 8 days later, we have the Taurus new moon. So the Sun enters Taurus, and then we have the Taurus new moon. These two charts, these energies are very similar. However, then we get to Venus enters Aries. And this is occurring today on Wednesday, April 30th. And intuitively with this chart, everything changes. And let me just, it's all about Venus, Venus, Venus. And this is the flower of Venus. And there's a lead up to this, the reason, but I wanted to show you all the chart first. And there's, and you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to bring it back up, but this is all about Venus. Well, why? Well, because in the astrological influences, so we have the Sun that enters Taurus on the 19th. Then it's followed the next day by Venus conjunct together with the North Node, where humanity's going. Then on the 25th, Venus conjuncts Saturn. So we're here at the 30th, so this has already occurred. Then on the 27th, the Taurus new moon. And then again, 3 days later, today, Venus enters Aries at 0 degrees. Well, the astrological influences, the energies for that Venus enters Aries chart, it's all about game over, game, set, match. Meaning, so when we're looking at this intuitively, when I was looking at this chart, Venus enters Aries, literally it just came flooding in and they said things get messy. So the unseen says things get messy, conflicted, and challenging. Things topple over. begin to topple over, like dominoes, like an avalanche. Regimes topple over, regime change. Hang on. We've been talking about how there are two distinctly different trains, different paths, different lanes, and one is leaving the station, the other one is ending at the station. It's complete, it's done. So this, where Aries was conjunct the North Node, Venus was conjunct the North Node. Then Venus is conjunct Saturn. Now Venus enters Aries. That train, Venus represents the divine feminine, the matriarch, the matriarchal era, Aquarian. It's this whole, that train is leaving the station. And so again, it's all about Venus, Venus, Venus. And what a beautiful image, the flower of Venus, these beautiful pinks and purples and magentas and the whites and, you know, and this beauty of the divine feminine within all of us. And then, of course, when we look at this chart, this, and Sue is saying, I've gotten dominoes as well. Exactly. There is this serious, it's like, hang on, because again, those things that are meant, that have been the facade and that are meant to collapse, things are going to get messy because it's game over. It's game, set, match. There's a finality here, and it gets messy, conflicted, challenging. Things topple over, begin to topple over like dominoes, like an avalanche. Regime change, regimes topple over. So there is this aspect of two diverging paths, and one is going somewhere and one is ending. It's complete. So we start with all of that to set the stage. And then I'm going to set the stage one last time. I'm going to set the stage with, I want to go to Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. She's an incredible astrologer. And she's talking about this week about the Pluto effect. And she says, although the confrontational Mars-Pluto opposition, and that's the third one, it's the third one that's occurring. The first one was in early November. The second time it occurred was early January. And now it just occurred on the 26th of April. So although the confrontational Mars-Pluto opposition is technically behind us, its effects linger throughout the next 2 weeks at minimum. This is in part because the tension-filled aspect is strongly woven into the tapestry of the new lunar cycle. This is the new Taurus moon that occurred on April 27th. It is also because Pluto's transformational influence is elevated this week and next due to the dwarf planet being virtually at a standstill as it prepares to go retrograde this coming Sunday, May 4th. When a planet is retrograde, it is actually closer to the Earth than it is at other times in its orbit, and thus may affect us more deeply. Therefore, we are likely to experience Pluto's powerful, life-changing effects more profoundly than usual, not only this week, but throughout Pluto's retrograde period from May 4th to October 13th. So we have this Mars-Pluto opposition. Pluto's in Aquarius, Aquarian age, matriarchal, the future, where we're going. And it's getting ready to station retrograde. And we've had this opposition from Mars, the divine masculine. And it's about the purity of the divine masculine, not the shadow, not the aggression, the aggressive aspects, but the chivalry, the reverence, the purity of the divine masculine. These are opposing because there's tension. There's all this old goo, and it's going to be elongated because Pluto's retrograding, May 4th to October 13th. Pam Youngins goes on to say, Pluto is the great revealer, exposing secrets and illuminating the shadow. As the psychotherapist planet, it brings to the surface issues and emotions that have been suppressed or repressed, individually, collectively, globally. Its task is to reveal true motivations. We speak about this a lot. What's the purity of your intentions? What's the purity of your motivations, or the lack thereof? So its task is to reveal true motivations, especially those that are of a lower vibration. By helping us become conscious of the dysfunctional patterns or fears that have been controlling us from behind the scenes, it enables us to step more fully into our personal power. There's going to be greater clarity. It's number 2 from the unseen. It's hexagram 30 that we're going to be working with. This clarity. As the mythic god of the underworld, Pluto also takes us through a process of death and rebirth. It dismantles that which is no longer viable and initiates a process of transfiguration with an eventual emergence into a new form. There's a new train. It's left the station. It's leaving. The old one is over, so it's going to dismantle that which is no longer viable, and it initiates a process of transfiguration with an eventual emergence into a new form. We're talking about last week's show, we were talking about what I'm terming the divine DNA, this 98% of the DNA that has been dormant or dark. Scientists termed it junk DNA. And yet this instantaneous activation, this emergence of a whole new form of us. On a collective level, since Pluto is now in progressive Aquarius, this retrograde phase will be focused on tearing down outdated, divisive social systems and hierarchical power structures. That's patriarchal. This kind of divisive social system, this hierarchical power structures. That's the old. This process of deconstruction will likely strengthen once revolutionary Uranus enters Gemini on July 7th and begins its 3-year trine to Pluto. So Uranus, higher mind, God mind, higher mind. Expect the unexpected. Revolutionary advance. It's going to enter Gemini on July 7th, and it's going to then begin a 3-year trine. A trine is a harmonious aspect. We're going to work together in harmony. So Uranus and Pluto, going to be trine. They're going to be doing the disco, the dance. And it's going to be, the way it's coming to me into, it's going to be the most wicked as in, they're showing me futuristic like The Wizard of Oz and Wicked the play, and like this beautiful advance, this beautiful, the follow the yellow brick road, the Emerald City, what lies beyond, what's always been within us that gets awakened. That's what's on tap. But equally on tap is this chart where Venus enters Aries. It's beginning an entire new way of being. Pisces ends the astrological year. Aries begins it. And here this is all about Venus, Venus, Venus. And then this whole aspect of what's going to become dismantled, what is going to fall apart. Game over, game, set, match. Things get messy, conflicted, and challenging. Things topple over, begin to topple over, like dominoes, like an avalanche. Regimes topple over, regime change. Hang on. I want to go to our mantra because the way to navigate these energies is, of course, to be in the flow. Be ready. It's number 6 from the unseen. Be ready. Be in alignment. Know the purity of your intentions. Listen to your soul source connection and go as guided. Don't swim upstream. Don't fight the change. Flow with the change. And our mantra is, I open to the way. So where you have been open, open more, open completely, open further. Where you have been obstructing it, procrastinating, delaying, obstructing, negotiating, whatever it may be, I open to the way. Because it's the way. It's not my way, your way, the highway, some way. It's the way. The way, the divine family, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, your soul, the purity, true north. That's the way. And so here the unseen is speaking to us about, I open to the way. Beautiful image, again, these iridescent orbs of light and pinks and purples and magentas, and it feels very light and fresh and spring-like, renewal, new birth. So this rebirth. Well, So with all that, and by the way, so Neptune is in Aries, Venus is in Aries. First time they've been in Aries together in 150 years. So we're dialing it back to 1875. Well, as you recall in a show or two or three ago, we were talking about how Neptune finishing Pisces, but Neptune moving into Aries was about, it was the, what coincided with that was the abolition of slavery. So what was percolating when Neptune was in the final degrees of Pisces 150 plus years ago is not identical, but similar. This moving from enslavement, this moving from the old systems, the old ways, these old paradigms, slavery, enslavement. It's a different enslavement. Today is a different enslavement than it was then. However, Neptune in Aries brought about the abolition of slavery. The last time Venus and Neptune in Aries, 150 years ago, 1875, the Civil Rights Act was passed. Ulysses S. Grant was president. So you can see there's these movements towards the ratifying of the abolition of slavery. So now we're looking fast forward 150 years. It's the matriarchal Aquarian futuristic era, we the people. And this ending of the old way, the Piscean era, the patriarchal rule, these hierarchical structures that have minimized, enslaved, dumbed down this junk, really, you want to call it junk DNA or dark DNA, dark meaning from the void, but it's divine DNA, things that are awakened in us, that there's a calling for us to advance, to become more who we are at our center, who we've always been. And as they said last week, it's showtime. Ready or not, here we go. And yet you see, do you see how there are these people in positions of power, whether it's industry or government or business and so forth, this cleaving and clinging to an old story, an old script, an old way, as if their individual or collective efforts are greater than the unseen. Quote unquote, greater than nature, greater than the unseen, greater than source. We know this not to be true. It's laughable. Man builds and constructs, and Mother Nature in a nanosecond wipes it out, wipes it away. So as we move on, let's dump into we're gonna face, they said to us, you can't be the ostrich, you gotta face things head on. We're gonna face the first thing they said, and this is a very and before we do that, let's just go to our main theme ever so quickly is, which is beautiful, time to fly, soar, the magic within. And you see this beautiful kind of turquoise, iridescent blue, turquoise light, this human, this is us. This is the new human. We are the new human. And they're saying, the unseen is saying to us, it's time to fly. It's time to soar. And it's all about the magic within. So we'll come back and revisit this in a second. This is the train that's left the station. This is where we're going. You want to be on that train. You want this octave of yourself. We want this collectively. Until then, however, well, not until then. In addition to this other train that's come in and ending, the unseen said, the first thing they said was the downfall of NERO, Emperor Nero. So the downfall of Nero, the beginning of the end. The end, underlined, exclamation point. And then I heard the word overreach. So before we jump into Nero, overreach is our key word. And just bringing that up really quickly, you see this lightning with the purple and everything. So overreach. To fail by trying to achieve, spend, or do more than you can manage. Conduct that exceeds established limits. as of authority or due process. This is coming from the unseen, and it is in our world news. So overreach, to do something that is beyond your ability to do. To defeat oneself by seeking to do or gain too much. To get the better of by deceit, cunning, or cheating. So this, and Sue was saying, I just got On the Wings of Love, and that was one of our shows many episodes ago, On the Wings of Love. She said it's playing in her mind's ear. So we have this overreach, and then the unseen saying, the downfall of Nero, the beginning of the end, exclamation point. The keyword overreach. And so Emperor Nero. And this is by the Stoic Handbook .co. Emperor Nero, the dark reign of Rome's most infamous emperor, AD 54 to 68. Emperor Nero is a figure synonymous with extravagance, cruelty, and madness in the annals of history. Emperor Nero, born on December 15th, AD 37, is one of history's most polarizing figures, often depicted as the epitome of cruelty, decadence, and tyranny during his reign as Roman emperor from AD 54 to 68. While some ancient sources paint him as a psychopathic ruler responsible for matricide, brutal persecutions, and the Great Fire of Rome, modern historians argue that Nero's legacy may have been exaggerated by his enemies. In this deep dive, we'll explore Nero's life, the gory details of his controversial acts, his cultural ambitions, and his dramatic downfall, offering fresh insights and lesser-known facts to uncover the man behind the myth. Now, you can see, this is the unseen, bringing to the fore history, lessons, examples. And remember that, in astrology, it's cyclical. It's not identical, it's cyclical. So they're bringing the downfall of Nero. They're talking to us about Venus enters Aries and how regimes collapse and things get messy. And it's an S show. So that is going to be simultaneously happening at the same time as others advance. We advance. Collectively, we advance. The whole of the whole advances. It's just which train are you on? Denotes the experience. We go on. Nero was born into the powerful Julio-Claudian dynasty, with lineage tracing back to Augustus, the first Roman emperor. His mother, Agrippina the Younger, was a cunning and ambitious figure who married Emperor Claudius, securing Nero's adoption as heir. When Claudius died in AD 54, possibly poisoned by Agrippina, Nero ascended the throne at just 16, becoming the youngest Roman emperor up to that time. Initially, Nero showed promise. Advised by his tutor Seneca and Praetorian prefect Burrus, he implemented policies to support the poor and reform taxation. But as he sought independence from his domineering mother, his reign took a darker turn, setting the stage for one of the most tumultuous periods in the Roman Empire. Nero's rule quickly became synonymous with financial recklessness and personal indulgence. He spent lavishly on grand projects like the Domus Aurea, Golden House, a sprawling palace complex that featured a colossal statue of himself. This extravagance drained the Roman treasury, leading to economic instability across the empire. His personal life was equally chaotic. Nero's multiple marriages and affairs shocked Roman society, including his scandalous divorce from Claudia Octavia to marry Poppaea Sabina. These acts of indulgence alienated the Senate and elite, fueling perceptions of Nero as a ruler more interested in pleasure than governance. You can't make it up if you try. This is the unseen, bringing out the downfall of Nero, the beginning of the end, overreach. And that equally so, and more importantly so, Time to fly, soar, to realize and recognize the magic within, the activation of it within. Because we have a choice. We talk about this all the time. We have a choice. Every choice you make matters. What you do today influences tomorrow, influences the instant. I mean, there's the instantaneousness of the moment. In this current paradigm that we all live in, that we all operate within, karma, we're constantly either adding to or adding to karma, period. Now, everything's divine and neutral, but if in fact it has a shadow aspect to that karma, well, that's what's coming back, because karma is balance. And so the whole experience becomes your dharma, your experience, your path, your journey, what you're to experience. So we want to be building and creating and contributing to at least divine neutral or positive karma. Because then, of course, that positive karma, we do right by ourselves, we do right by others, we do, goodness and so forth, creates more of that returning back to us. So here we got the downfall of NERO, the beginning of the end, and time to fly, soar, the magic within. Just going to touch briefly on the magic within before we go to hexagram 30. So in the tarot, and the tarot is a divination system that has been around for quite some time. And in the tarot, the card most directly representing magic and the occult, wisdom, magic, is the Magician. This card symbolizes the ability to manifest desires, connect with the spiritual, and wield power to create. While other cards can also allude to magical energies, the Magician is the most explicit and central figure in the tarot deck. The Magician represents power, the power of creation and manifestation, highlighting the ability to harness inner resources, that inner wisdom, that the magic within, with external forces, that creative force, that's the purity of the divine masculine, to achieve goals. The Magician is often depicted with various tools or symbols reflecting the different facets of magic and the elements they represent, because the Magician, as above, so below, you see the wand, you see the symbol, the infinity symbol, eternity, and the Magician has every tool, every suit or tool in the tarot. So wands, swords, cups, pentacles. It has everything it needs. We have that as well. All of the cards that represent, and we're going to cover the next 6 of them, all the cards in the tarot that represent wisdom, the occult, magic that's within us, they're all what are called major arcana in the tarot, the cards in the tarot. And they represent fated events or destiny, fate, these types of things. They're epic. They will occur. So the next 2 are the Fool and the High Priestess. The Fool represents the beginning of a journey and the potential for transformation. The train's left the station. You got the golden ticket. You're on the golden train. Time to fly, soar, the magic within. So it represents the journey and the potential for transformation, often linked to the start of magical practice. The High Priestess represents intuition, spirituality, hidden knowledge, which can be crucial for tapping into magical energies. It's about tapping into your soul source connection. Listening and going as guided. It's listening to your soul source connection, not your ego, mind, personality. The human, the ego, mind, personality, it's going to barter, beg, steal, negotiate, procrastinate. It's going to fear. It's going to And when you quiet it and you say, okay, hang on, sit in the sidecar, hang on, and you listen to your soul source connection, the Fool, the High Priestess, the Magician, it guides your soul true north, your soul source connection guides you correctly, calmly, confidently. This is where we are. The next 2, the Hermit and the Moon. The hermit represents introspection, solitude, guidance, allowing one to connect with inner wisdom and potentially uncover hidden magical abilities. The moon represents illusions, the subconscious, where we mask, labels, identity, scripts, the things, things that have been hidden, the illusions, and the power of dreams and visions, which can be used for magical purposes. And last but not least, this is the counter, the devil and the tower. The devil represents temptation, dark energies, and the potential misuse of power, often associated with black magic or manipulative practices. So it's equally important to recognize, the shadow, the devil within, so to speak, not to kill it or eradicate it. We talk about this all the time, but to know which path, which train to get on. And when is our shadow, our lesser selves, directing or guiding us versus the purity of our soul source connection. And then last but not least is the tower. The tower represents disruption, sudden change, and the potential for a turning point in one's magical journey. Remember, the tower can be both, it's shocking, but it can be both shocking in a divine, neutral, perceived negative way, or of a divine, neutral, perceived positive way. It can catapult you forward in most miraculous ways. It can be the cosmic 2x4 that comes out of nowhere and just knocks you to your knees. These are the magic within. This is where this is all culminating. It's getting turned on. It's always been there, but it's going to get instantaneously activated, turned on. You want to be on the right train, the right lane. You want to be ready. There are within the SABIAN symbols for Venus, for the horary chart, where the event chart where Venus enters Aries. There's a lot about nature spirits. So we have this about the occult. It's number 4. We'll come to it in a second. I want to go to hexagram 30. So this is from Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com. Hexagram 30, it's clarity. And I heard it's number 2 from the unseen, and they said clarity. And then I heard the song Gravity by John Mayer playing. We've had this before. And the song Gravity by John Mayer speaks to the devil aspects, the shadow aspects in us. In his instance, the music industry, Hollywood, fame, all this stuff. And how gravity, how the shadow, the devil, the shadow, is trying to bring him down. But he sings about standing in clarity. Allow me to remain in the clarity, true north, the purity, the clarity of my essence and my being, to know right from wrong, to know which train to take, which lane to live in, to thrive in. So here, hexagram 30, Carrie Hone, cafeosoul.com. Its action is perceive. Our first quote, and it is, when you can appreciate nature's power to break through all barriers, you will discover that this same power is inside of you. See, there's this eternal light, flame, source, power that far supersedes man, what man, humankind, can do or does. And so when you can appreciate nature's power to break through all barriers, you will discover that this same power is inside of you. This is what's on tap. This is the train that's left the station, energies. Again, it's true. It's been true all along. It's just being magnified and amplified. So cafeosoul.com, hexagram 30. Clinging means resting on something. When the waters of the abysmal flow into the pit, we search for something to cling to. So when these things are regimes and collapsing and all this stuff, and the world is changing, and the era, the time, the way we have known it to be is changing in our personal lives and in the whole of the whole. We search for something to cling to. Li is the image of the clinging fire. So clarity is the image of the clinging fire. Formless except the essence of the fuel that keeps it burning. When the changes are underway, your only footing is the reference point of the self. So we look to ourselves, right? But we do that ego, mind, personality, human. So we look to this reference point of the self. When it too is undergoing transformation, when the self, ego, mind, personality, the human, is also undergoing transformation, you must find something more meaningful to cling to. Your soul source connection, source. The all that is, the true north, that eternal light. What emerges from any difficult transition is the discovery of that thing which will guide and support you when all else is taken away. We've talked about when you stand naked in an 8-lane freeway with all the high beam headlights on you. So when all the masks and the identities and the labels and the scripts and the stories and the belongings and these material things, when they're all gone, when they are no longer, it's about what emerges and what remains. That's what you cling to. That's what's real and true. That's eternal. That's your soul. So what emerges from any difficult transition is the discovery of that thing which will guide and support you when all else is taken away. This is like a light that is always burning in the darkness. Although events out there orchestrate the changes, they merely lead you to cultivate a shift of awareness in here. It shocks us. It's the tower. It's shocking to us. It's waking us up from our slumber, being on the treadmill. And so it's demonstrating, it's showing us where we became complacent, where we might have been lazy or defiant or whatever it may be. It's waking us up. It's our second quote. The master said, "The cultivation of the self consists in the rectification of the mind." So the cultivation of the self consists in the rectification of the mind. We gotta get the ego, mind, personality in harmony and unity and service to the soul, to your soul source connection. That rectifies the mind. It's in harmony, it's in ease, it's in flow. If it's not doing that, it's in dis-ease. Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com, she goes on, "That which is bright rises twice. Even the most difficult circumstances cultivate your inner fire in a way that allows you to shine more brightly out there." This is all for us. It's happening for us. It's painful, it's messy, it's not pretty, but it is a result of the choices individually and collectively. So whether this is happening in our lives, in our businesses, in our governments, in worldwide in our institutions, it's happening because it's based on the choices we've made. After the abysmal waters recede, we often arrive at the suchness existing at every moment, without the need to look any further. You may discover what is, and stop fighting the very thing that shapes you and reveals your purpose. See, stop fighting your soul. Stop fighting who you are at your center. That's where you shine. That's where you thrive. That's where you excel. And anything obstructing that is less than that. Why would we want to be that when so much more greatness exists? What is, is. Life is like a flowing river. Identify its current to know contentment. It's about be ready. It's about to be in the flow. When life is free to move spontaneously, a beautiful harmony can be observed. Obstruction only emerges because you may be classifying things in terms of good, bad, right, or wrong. But the idea of obstruction is a human-made illusion, because everything's divine and neutral. It's for us to see through them. Nature is blind to the idea of obstacles, except in the way that it tears them down. What you may call difficulty is the tearing away of what is blocking your inner light and movement. Source, the all that is, true north, it's always wanting the most for us, the best for us, the highest for us. So where nature, Mother Nature just removes the obstacle, wipes it out, we tend to hold back. We humans tend to hold back. we tend to obstruct, that great saying about, what's in your way? You. Well, there we go. The unnatural things that we build to obstruct life's forward progress will never be a match for its enormous power to break them down. Even water will immediately break down the molecules of whatever substance comes into contact with it. Clarity is the expression in attitude and behavior of an openness, I open to the way, that allows all things to keep moving forward. Whether it is removing the outworn or building something new, nature is always productive. This transformative power unleashes inner direction and awakens you to a powerful center that you can cling to. You want to cling to the purity of your soul, of your essence. Not all these outside illusions and distractions and masks, identities, labels, scripts. They don't make you. Whether you have them or you don't have them, who are you at your center? That's who you are. Anything else is an illusion. And finally, the master said, when the mind is like a mirror, it grasps nothing, refuses nothing, receives, but does not keep. See, this is about the time. See, we received. So it's like a mirror. It grasps nothing, refuses nothing, receives, but does not keep. We've received the time, the patriarchal Piscean era. We've received it. There are those that are trying to keep it. But that's not the way. The way is that we receive, but we do not keep. We allow the experience to flow through us. This is an important mindset during any difficulty. To approach the gateway, you can use the mind as a portal or a prison. It's like fear. You can either harness the energy of fear to literally catapult you forward or immobilize you. So to approach the gateway, or there, you can use the mind as a portal or a prison. It can advance you or it can immobilize you. When you unblock the openings, you can view a world bathed beneath the power of your inner light. Because it's in alignment with where we're going. Not where we've been there, but where we're going. This is huge and paramount. Number 3 from the unseen. Courage is contagious. Get swept up in the magic, in the way. So courage is contagious. Be the embodiment of the magic within. Time to fly and soar. Embracing change, embracing the future, harnessing the very best of you, the very best of us. It's contagious. When you do that, and you don't have to shout it from the rooftops, just be it. And that emulates, it sends it out. People recognize it. It's that Harry met Sally, I'll have what she's having moment. It just speaks for itself. The purity of it speaks for itself. So now let's look at, I want to go to Astrology by Lauren. And she's speaking about a super new moon in Taurus. So this just occurred on the 27th. And she begins with a quote or a statement by Hildegard of Bingen. I am the one whose praise echoes on high. I adorn all the earth. I am the breeze that nurtures all things green. I encourage blossoms to flourish with ripening fruits. I am led by the Spirit to feed the purest streams. I am the rain coming from the dew that causes the grasses to laugh with the joy of life. I am the yearning for good. That seed of harmony and bliss and goodness and abundance and light, purity, it's within us. It's the gift given to us that we were literally created from. Why would we not want to harness that energy, that gift, that light? Astrology by Lauren. On April 21st, 2025, Pope Francis left this mortal coil and passed over into the great beyond. This was on the same day that Saturn, represents spiritual leaders, made its exact conjunction to the true North Node in Pisces. This is a transit that represents a time of great karmic significance. Like in the tarot with the magic, the major arcana, fated, destiny, major events, karmic events. So they have a karmic significance. And so this humble priest made his way home at this uniquely pivotal moment. They will soon be choosing another spiritual leader for the Catholic Church. Know also that choices made at these times have important consequences. Neptune has just recently entered Aries. This will be followed by Saturn in May. So Saturn is going to enter Aries in May, beginning a new spiritual cycle. Lauren envisions the new pope to be something of a spiritual warrior. That was just in Neptune Rising, the April 2nd show, the spiritual warrior reborn, renewed, reinvented, and a spiritual revolution. So she's envisioning the new pope to be something of a spiritual warrior, hopefully willing to carry the torch into the coming era, showing us what it truly means to do, quote, God's work. This is such a crucial time for humanity as a whole, and we will need as much guidance as possible to lead us through the liminal passes ahead. We got to get through this, this domino effect and the collapsing and everything to fully receive, because we got to get through the end to receive the new. Astrology by Lauren, she continues, this week Uranus will sextile, that's a harmonious aspect in astrology. So Uranus will sextile the North Node, opening up our awareness to new possibilities. We do not have to keep doing things the way we always have in the past. There are alternatives. Like a door opening, we are being ushered into another era, another place that has, as of yet, never been experienced before. This is why it's also causing, there's so much excitement and there's so much fear. Well, I know the beast I know. Well, okay, but that doesn't mean there isn't another wonderful, beautiful beast that's just on the other side. It's like Narnia, pass through the back of the wardrobe closet or step through when the ocean parts in the movies, in the franchise. What lies beyond? It may be unknown to us, but look how magical and mystic and amazing it is, and it can be. Don't fear it, embrace it. So we have this, and so here we all are on the threshold of the next leg of our journey, our human ascendancy and evolution. And don't forget, that includes Mother Earth. It includes the whole of the whole. We get lost in thinking that it's just about me, in my life, what I want. Well, what about our connectivity to the whole of the whole? And that influence and that greatness. We've been stuck in the shadow aspect. We've fallen pretty far. But it doesn't mean we can't rise. It's innate within us. Lauren continues, on May 4th, Pluto will make its retrograde station at 3 degrees Aquarius, 49 arc minutes. But before it does so, it will first make the last of 3 oppositions to Mars, now in Leo. Oppositions tell us of impending conflict, where powerful forces are coming head to head. This too could look like the fall from grace of a powerful leader, but of a different sort from the passing of a much-loved spiritual leader. So it's vastly different from that of a much-loved spiritual leader. Mars in Leo, opposite Pluto in Aquarius, looks like the sort of arrogance that can turn on a dime and bring people to their knees. That's that cosmic 2x4. Whack! That's the unseen, Mother Nature. You're not listening, you're not learning, you're not getting, no? Okay. Wham! And it just knocks you to your knees, not to harm you, to awaken you, to get you to see. It's not that you don't know. We can all see it. When it happens in our individual lives or our collective lives on the world stage, it's not that we don't see it. We do. What do we do with it? What are the choices we make in the moment? This is weather in which it becomes obvious when and if we underestimate our opponent. Are we underestimating Source? Are we underestimating the soul? Are we underestimating the world before us? Because this is the weather Lauren is speaking to. This is the weather in which it becomes obvious when and if we are underestimating our opponent. Mars can also serve as a catalyst, showing us the difference between the positive versus the negative expressions of Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius goes south when it tries to emulate Leo, its opposite sign, and through this same arrogance loses sight of its mission. The mission is the purity of the divine masculine, the matriarchal Aquarian era, the futuristic evolution and version of ourselves. So when it loses sight of its mission, the expression of the interdependence of all of humanity and the reliance on that interdependence to sustain a well-ordered and fully functional system. See, that's Aquarian. What she's saying is, when this happens, Pluto in Aquarius goes south when it tries to emulate Leo, its opposite sign, and through this same arrogance loses sight of its mission, the expression of the interdependence of all of humanity, and we the people. It's Aquarian, it's matriarchal, and the reliance on that interdependence to sustain a well-ordered and fully functional system. Ignore that, and the system will fail. It's going to fail like dominoes. It's going to collapse. It's going to get messy and challenging and confusing because, well, we've lost sight of the mission. The mission is oneness, unity, clarity, goodness. Forgo that, the system collapses. The Mars-Pluto opposition occurs just one day before the Taurus new moon at 7 degrees Taurus, 47 arc minutes, a supermoon, meaning that the new moon occurs when the moon is at the closest point in its orbit to the Earth. We will not see the moon, but we will see it demonstrated in the tides and affairs of humankind, as well as on the Earth, our mother. She too fully depends on a well-ordered and fully functional ecosystem to sustain us all. Interdependence comes in many forms, and it is the fundamental axiom of the sign of Aquarius, and it will not and cannot be denied. It simply must be. We can equate this to ourselves. When ego-mind personality, human, and soul source connection are in oneness, harmony, unity with the other, what a beautiful, well-oiled machine. Ease, flow, greatness, extraordinary greatness, beauty. Absent that, chaos, confusion, dis-ease, challenge. But challenge is opportunity. So Lauren continues. And so the supermoon stands in the crosshairs of the Mars-Pluto opposition, creating a T-square. Not exact, but exact enough. T-squares create stress with an overriding desire to correct that stress, to restore the sacred balance of giving and receiving. So we receive, but we do not hold. That allows for the flow, the energy to keep moving with us and through us. It's only when we try to put genie in the bottle, things go awry, and they get messy fast. And imagine that. Does anyone want to be genie in the bottle, encapsulated, enslaved for someone else's enjoyment and pleasure? No. Who wants that? And if you think that's what you want, be the one to do it. Try it on for size. Let us know how you like it. Put it in the comments. Following up on the last quarter moon, which was bringing closure, new moons, such as the one on April 27th, are about new beginnings. And remember, these energies that we're talking about, while they're occurring right now, this all arcs out. It continues. And we are each a part of that, a custodian, a vessel for these energies. So while we're talking about it right this minute, these energies are going to arc out. All of this is going to arc out for some time to come. Taurus is a sign of peace. This is where the new moon in Taurus. Taurus is a sign of peace, a sign of the natural world, firm and solid beneath our feet, sustaining, supporting, and holding us. It does not falter, even under extraordinary conditions, even when it rocks and roils. It only does so to correct and restore its own natural equilibrium. And so we must also, must we also on occasions have to rock and roil to restore our own stasis, security, and safety. And the unseen is showing me earthquakes, natural events that occur. Well, this is in accordance with Taurus, Earth, this firm foundation. It has to adjust. It has to release the tensions and the things that we as humans have done to Mother Earth and are continuing to do. Well, it's like consuming something not good for us. Well, what does your system, your body do? It expresses or expels it somehow, some way. Mother Earth does the same thing. On May 1st, we celebrate Beltane, May Day, in mid-Taurus, one of the fixed cross quarters of the year, a time of celebration for the Earth, the greatness of her beauty, and the richness of her potential. And so too is the new moon a time for potential. In this case, the potential for all things gloriously Taurus, which includes things like restoring the natural rhythm and balance of our lives. It's about bringing in harmony and balance, ease, flow, goodness, greatness. What is ours is ours. What is yours is yours. You don't have to compete. You just show up. Just show up. Listen to your soul. Go as guided. And then remember, when you receive what is yours, or if you don't receive what is not yours, don't hold on to it. Be the custodian of that moment, that energy, and then release it. Because sure as fire, the next beautiful element is coming right behind it. It's a continuum. Life, our human existence, our journey, it's a continuum of all of these experiences. And it's like, how many are we able to experience in a lifetime? It's dependent on us. It's dependent on the choices we make. Are we in the flow, or are we obstructing ourselves? And then collectively, our collective advance. The new moon in Taurus is our opportunity, humanity's opportunity, to make the right sorts of decisions based on our true priorities. It is a moon we can use to ground ourselves, to create greater ballast and security. New life, new growth, new seeds of potential can arise out of the new moon in Taurus. We simply have to choose it. And this is where number 4, and it ties to that NERO and the Pluto effect, the downfall of NERO, Pam Youngin's North Point Journal, the Pluto effect. The Unseen said, the occult. Occult means supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, practices, powers, or phenomena. That's what occult means. Occult is like wisdom. It's wisdom. So supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, practices, powers, or phenomena. So the occult takes center stage. Wisdom at its finest, its highest. It's these two juxtapositions. You can either be, the way they're giving this to me, you can either be down in the slums, or you can be at the highest peak of the mountains. You can be at the highest point. And remember, courage is contagious. All of this is contagious. So whether it's shadow, ick, goo, or your greatness, your light, your divinity, this time to fly and soar, the magic within, it's contagious. And so the occult takes center stage, wisdom at its finest, its highest. And then number 5 from the Unseen was, I started hearing the lyrics. It's to Cher's Believe. It's, do you believe in life after love? And then they said, the soul moves on, carries on, moves beyond the ego, mind, personality, human, to a new level of being, a new level of existence. So 5 denotes change. Do you believe in life after love? And the soul is saying, listen, we've waited long enough. The Unseen, we've waited long enough. The Piscean patriarchal era, we've waited long enough. Do you believe in life after love? The soul moves on, carries on, moves beyond the ego, mind, personality, human, to a new level of being, of existence. Be ready. It's really quite simple and yet profound. And it's about the choices we make. Do we choose to align with it? Do we choose to have full faith and trust? Because faith and fear cannot exist in the same place at the same time. You have to choose one. because otherwise you're just in limbo. It's stagnation. Astrology by Lauren concludes with this. It's an excerpt from Stephanie Kaza. Dear Mother Earth, help me to stand firm on my own 2 feet, drawing on the solid earth below me. Help me to know the constancy of your strength, the power that is you. Help me to dance in the sky and sing praises to the life all around me. We are part of Mother Earth. We stand. We are one with her. Why would we want to harm her any more than we would want to harm ourselves or others? So this is it's a prayer, it's a request to Mother Earth to say, help me to stand firm on my own 2 feet, drawing on the solid earth below me. Help me to know the constancy of your strength, the power that is you. Help me to dance in the sky. Time to fly, soar, the magic within. Help me dance in the sky and sing praises to the life all around me. There's such beauty in this moment. It's chaotic. It's painful. It's stressing. I mean, I don't know that there's a human on the planet that isn't, kind of in some level or degree of anxiety and, and irritation, whatever, because again, at our center, we want purity, goodness, clarity, greatness, but universal greatness, unity, oneness. It's not an illusion. It's not a fallacy. It's epic truth. That's the truth. That's the way. Anything other than it is an illusion. It's like a cloud in the sense of like, I'm not getting the words that I want, but it's like a degradation of it. It's something that is foreign to us. It's the shadow aspect, the devil, the lesser. And thereby, we have the opportunity to choose differently. I open to the way. I'm going to post all of because I'm mindful of the time, I'm going to post all of the SABIAN symbols on the Dearjames Facebook page. They are epic. I'm just going to give you very quickly a few of them because we have the Mars-Pluto opposition. Mars, a conservative, old-fashioned lady, is confronted by a hippie girl. The need to transcend our subservience to fashion in morals as well as in clothes. So this is about the reality of social values, meaning what are the cultural values and how do we evolve? We are not today what we were, 5,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago. So here's this conflict. So Mars is bringing up for us to see it's time to evolve, the relativity of social values. It's time to advance. Pluto, a Hindu yogi, demonstrates their healing powers. This is about how it's about being in harmony, perfect harmony, and identification with the divine whole. Self-discipline, purity of motive, compassion, faith in the divine order is required. It's the focusing of spiritual energy. We've got time to fly, soar, the magic within. The occult takes center stage, wisdom at its finest. This is about focusing of the spiritual energies, that which is unseen. The sun is a woman watering flowers in her garden, development of the powers of the mind on which ego consciousness is based. So this is about cultivation, that we cultivate this higher octave of ourselves, of this higher octave of our mind. The South Node, it's what we're releasing, humanity's releasing. A boy with a censer serves the priest near the altar. The first stage of actual participation in the great ritual of planetary evolution, of which we are a main player, a part. This is so beautiful because what it says is everything we do so in the presence of God. That's what this symbol speaks to. It says practice in the presence of God. What are the choices you would make if before you made them each and every time, you said to yourself, I'm doing so in the presence of God? It's a game changer. You don't have to be religious. This is a spiritual octave. This is the highest high purity. If I'm doing this in the presence of God, would I make that choice? Or would I stop myself? Or would I make it with the purity of intention? There's so many more here, but I'm mindful of the time. So I love you all. This is such a beautiful moment and a juxtaposition, this juxtaposition of what's ending and what's beginning. Time to fly, soar, the magic within. The downfall of NERO, the beginning of the end. Be mindful of overreach. Clarity. Do not allow shadow or gravity to hold you back or down. Rise. Courage is contagious. Get swept up in the magic in the way. I open to the way. The occult takes center stage, wisdom at its finest, its highest. Do you believe in life after love? The soul moves on, carries on. It moves beyond the ego, mind, personality, the human, to a new level of being and existence. Be ready. So until then, I love you all. Thank you all for your comments, your presence, and we will see what happens next week. See you then.